launch conductor in mission control. We pause at this moment in our countdown to remember and honor the lives of each of the participants on the Celestis Memorial spaceflight. Their presence on this flight signifies a commitment to the opening of the space frontier shared by all of us. We wish the friends and families present today and all those who are with us in spirit all over the world Godspeed, good luck, and our thanks for allowing us to share this very personal time with you today. Elsie out. 5 vehicles armed. 3, 2, 1, fire. Missile away.
Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is a very rare and special broadcast from Celestis, our Memorial Space Flight company that we do your wonders for. We have so many flights that are geared up for within the next, month, literally, or 2 or 3 months. And there's another one that's coming in right after the launch that is supposed to happen on Monday. Our crew is already out west in California, and they want to not only handle 2 birds with one hand, but literally to reassure you that regardless what launches we are concentrating on, we still have everyone's concerns and hands for all future launches as well. So what we're going to do now is we're going to bring up our president, Colby Youngblood here. Hey, Colby, how you doing?
Hey, guys. How's everyone doing?
Good. And, of course, our CEO, Charles Chafer. Now, rarely do you see Colby here, and now that you know what he looks like, go up to him in person and say hello. Remember, as for each and every one of our broadcasts, if you have questions, go ahead and put them up now. We will revisit once Charlie gives you an update of everything that's happening with the current space flight that's happening on Monday. And of course, our next space flight, Aurora, that's happening. Charlie will give you the date because I can't keep track anymore. I got to write these things on a sticky pad. So just make sure that everyone posts your questions, and we will. If it's not coming directly from Charlie or Colby, we have our Celestis staff online with us as well. Keep your eyes open in the chat room. If you don't hear us get to your question right away, the Celestis team will pick up on it and answer while you're still watching and listening to this broadcast. So, Charlie, how are you, man?
Very good. Just landed a few hours ago out here in literally beautiful Central California, and getting excited for our 19th Celestis Memorial Space. Very excited for that. And we wanted to really tonight. We don't have any guests. We really want to focus on anybody's questions or inquiries about 2 of our missions, and I'll speak to both of them, and then we'll roll over to questions. The first one, as Marc said, we're scheduled for 11:44 Pacific Daylight Time on Monday, so almost midnight out here. So wherever you live, do the calculation from PDT. And that's our Excelsior flight with more than 120 participants on board. And we look to be hosting around 175, 180 guests out here. And as I say, it's a beautiful time of the year. It's a beautiful part of the world. For those of you that don't know Vandenberg Spaceport Base, if you saw the movie Sideways, that's where we are. We're right in the wine country of Central California. And I was telling Marc on my drive up from the airport in Santa Barbara, you're on 101, and out to the left is a beautiful blue Pacific, and over to the right, what normally are brown mountains, but because of all the rain, they're gorgeous green with exploding yellow flowers all over them. So it's for those of you that are coming out here, I hope you have a chance, or you take the chance to spend a little bit of time enjoying the main reason people come out to this part of the world, which is the wineries and the beautiful weather and coast. So anyway, we're on board. We're scheduled to launch at almost midnight Monday night. We have a full day of activities during the day of launch day, beginning with our memorial service and pre-launch briefing and reception at the Babcock Winery, which is one of the nice wineries here near Lompoc. So we have a full day. Our memorial service starts at 12:30. We're not webcasting it live. The venue is a little bit difficult to webcast live from. So what we decided to do was to just post the entirety of the webcast about 2 hours after we finish. And we're estimating that, we'll be finished around 5 o'clock. So we're shooting to have 7 o'clock, and those are all West Coast PDT times. We're shooting to have the memorial service up by then, which will give you plenty of time to see it before the launch if you choose, or it'll be archived on YouTube, and you'll be able to join the memorial service whenever it's convenient for you or meaningful for you. Again, everybody's getting pumped. Mission number 19 coming up on Monday. Mission number 18, which sounds weird, but is our Aurora flight, which we had a launch attempt for back in November. Due to high winds, COVID, and payload readiness, that mission was scrubbed, and we've rescheduled that for April 21st, and are holding forth in beautiful Las Cruces, New Mexico, and have 2 days of activities beginning on the 20th. The main thing that we're going to do on the 20th is a launch pad tour, and this is one of the, when we can do it, this is one of the best parts of the Earthrise service, is that the folks that show up for the tour are able to go right on the launch pad and meet with the guy that makes it happen, the founder and president of Aerospace. We're scheduled to do that. Those things can always get hiccuped at the last minute. It's a rocket launch after all. But even if it does, we'll go down and look at it. And we just, if Jerry's not there, it's because he's working issues on the launch. But it's a very simple system, and we've enjoyed working with them over the years. Both agendas, all the information that you want for both missions, you can find at our events.celestis.com page. You can choose the Excelsior flight, you can choose the Aurora flight, you can actually choose the Enterprise and Tranquility flight on those pages too. But for the two we're talking about now, you can see the agendas, you can see the schedules, and we're hoping that we get off Monday, because that will leave us 9 days to get ready for our next flight. So that's pretty impressive. The team has been doing very well. For those of you that are on Excelsior or know Excelsior, it started out on the Florida side of the world, over by Marc as the schedule. Being a secondary payload, we're used to not making any final plans until we get to the point when it's time to do that. And so when Excelsior moved from the Cape to Vandenberg, it struck us as a really great opportunity to return here. We did our first 3 or 4 missions out of Vandenberg, but we haven't been back since 2001. So the team, Colby and Keith, came out even earlier. We're all out here putting venues together. I was saying to Marc earlier that while this is a beautiful part of the world, and I think when you get out here, the folks that are attending are going to really feel what an appropriate place this is to leave the planet from. It's a beautiful part of the world. But when you do get out here, you'll see that it's not like if you've been to Florida, if you've been to launches in Florida, that's built. It's a NASA open, public, bring on all the spectators. You know, they support 1 million people visiting the shuttle launch. This is a military base. And as a result, they're not really concerned with the show they put on or accommodating tourists or whatever. They're not opposed to it. It's just not their mission. So we've had to come out here and look for and activate some sites, a viewing site, a memorial site that we haven't been to before. So it's taken a lot of work. I'm really pleased. I think those of you who get out here will be pleased also. Those of you who aren't able to attend Excelsior, remember that we'll be picking up the SpaceX webcast of the launch on our event page, just events.celestis.com. You'll see where you click. And that typically comes on about, and I emphasize the term about, 15 minutes before the launch. So you'll be able to see the final 15 minutes of the countdown up close and personal on the pad. Once the launch occurs, by the way, we have 3 different videography teams covering it. So I'm pretty sure we'll get some great video of the launches also. A little bit more distant than SpaceX. But when the flame lights up the valley on its way to orbit, that's an amazing view. I've seen that on our earlier view. So you'll be able to see that. And as I mentioned before, the memorial service should be up around 7 p.m. Pacific time before Excelsior. We'll be announcing the Aurora launch coverage and other coverage when we get a moment's break preparing for the next launch. Okay, I think I'm going to stop, Marc. Colby, do you have anything you want to add?
No, I'm just say hi to Jerry Smith, who shouted out. I'm really excited for the families to see the Babcock Winery and the local country. It is just, it's breathtaking. We're here at a fantastic time of the year. The winery is just gorgeous. We're going to put on a really, really good event. It's going to be one for the families that they're going to remember for the rest of their lives. So I'm just really excited for the families to see what we have in store for them. It's really cool, and a great viewing site at the Lompoc Airport. We've got our area out there, so we're going to have a really good view of the rocket on Monday night. So we're going to put on a very first-class event for the families, and I'm just super excited that we can do it for them.
I wanted to add one. Thank you, Colby. I wanted to add one other thing, which is the memorial service from the last time you may have looked at the agenda has moved. It's beginning 1 hour earlier.
Yes.
At 12:30. For those of you that are attending, that's important, and when you check in, we'll remind you of it, tell you when to meet the bus. The reason for that is we got a lot of people that want to speak, and that's great because that's such a special part of our service is families who don't know anybody here, but they're sharing such an important time together, being able to gather together and to say a few words in front of everybody about their loved one. And that's a really neat part of our service. This one, I think we've got, well, we certainly have well over 35 folks lined up to speak. And what that means is that we're going to ask you to wax poetic. And I say that with all humility, because it's impossible in some ways to just talk about your loss and your loved one in 3 minutes. But at the same time, what I think is useful to do is maybe focus on the reason why you are here and why your loved one is on board, and talk a little bit about that. That's my advice. And if we all do that, then we'll do everything on schedule and on time. So it's important. We want everybody that wants to say something to have that chance. And Colby will be emceeing that part of the memorial service, and I'm sure he'll be the most graceful enforcer possible. So we just, if you cooperate with us just a little bit, it'll be a good service for everyone.
Yep.
Okay.
I see a question from Brenda Bennett. She's asking if the launch viewing is going to be outside. It will be outside. Our private viewing area is going to have a large tent and about 200 chairs. We'll be streaming the SpaceX launch. We'll have a screen there so you can watch the SpaceX live cast. So yeah, it's going to be all right there. You'll have a place to sit. You'll be under a tent if that's what you want. You'll be able to walk away from the tent. We have plenty of area in and around that spot on the airport. So hopefully the weather cooperates with us. It'll be a great view outside of the rocket launch.
So, and that's a good point. I think it's typically this time of the year, it gets into the mid 40s at night. So dress appropriately. Yep. Also, anybody that's coming, bring a flashlight. It is going to be near midnight, and we want the sky and the area around to be dark. But when you're trying to find your way to the porta potty, and we'll have flashlights and people that can escort you. And it's not like it's a long ways, but and everybody's cell phone is a flashlight these days. So I guess I should say, bring your cell phone.
Marc, you're muted.
I did that so I don't cough, or you hear me cough. I can't avoid coughing. There's an interesting question here from Taylor. Either you guys seen it? I'll put it up on the screen so everyone else. I think it's pertinent for people to know this.
I think the answer is yes, but I'm gonna. Last time I looked, there's a big Walmart right next door to where we are. Is that fenced off, Colby, or can people? Do they have to drive to the airport, or can they drive over by the Walmart?
So where our entry is on that particular side of the Lompoc Airport, it is a gated entry with a key code. So as I bring the buses in, we'll have to type the code in, and these buses are going to be allowed to come in. So you won't be able to bring your privately owned vehicle onto the airfield. But if you coordinate with me, it's not that far away. You could park just outside the gate, and I could walk you in and over to that area. So that it is doable. Just coordinate with me, colby.youngblood@celestis.com, and I can help you with that.
That's great. That's actually a great answer of accommodation for somebody who, I understand if you're immunocompromised, you have to protect yourself from others, but you don't want to miss this flight. You came all this way, so That's great accommodation.
Yeah.
Laura asked if there's a break in between the memorial service and the reception, then the launch. So
Yeah. Colby, you want to take that?
Yep, I'll take that. Okay, so we're going to have a break. The memorial service is going to start at about 12:30 p.m. We're going to go through all the different things that we're going to go through in the memorial service and the family stories. We're going to break at about 3 p.m., give everybody a 15-minute break, and we're going to come back, and Charlie's at about 3:15. Charlie's going to do his Excelsior pre-launch briefing. We have Wally Lang that's going to be speaking from Spaceflight Industries, our service provider. Andy Wolstig, he's actually going to be on the console for the launch later that night. He's going to give us a little bit of information, and then we're going to break around about 4 p.m. So that part will conclude about 4 p.m. and then we'll walk over. We'll be in another area where there's going to be food, where you can get your food and your wine, and then you can bring that back. So the break is going to be at 3 o'clock. Will be a 15-minute break at 3 o'clock. The break at 4 o'clock won't be as long. It's just the service ends and the reception begins right about that time. So that's where the breaks are.
And then, yes, there's a break before the launch. We will bring everybody back to the hotel.
Yeah.
The reception ends at 6 o'clock. We'll
Yeah.
board the buses, come back to the hotel, and then we won't be leaving the hotel until what time are we leaving?
10:15. So I'm going to have the buses there at 10:15 so we can start boarding. We're going to be shuttling our guests to the airport. So we'll have 2 buses at a time. So 10:15, we'll start boarding. We'll take the first 2 buses, drop them off. The buses will come back, and we'll load the next 2 buses. But that will start at 10:15. Shouldn't have an issue. The bus ride will maybe be 5 minutes once we get going. The Lompoc's pretty small. Where we're at the Embassy Suites, our headquarters hotel, is maybe 5 minutes from the airport. So it's just a quick trip over to the airport. But by 10:15, we should have everybody in place by I expect 11 o'clock, maybe 11:10, but plenty of time to socialize and get ready for the 11:44 launch.
And then I wanted to mention that the window for the launch extends, I believe, at least until 3 a.m. And what does that mean? That means if there's weather that they're waiting on, if there's a range issue, meaning, hey, there's a boat downrange and we got to get rid of them, or if there's a technical reason, let's say, for whatever reason, I'm not going to give any technical reason why they don't hit the 11:44 launch time. It's different than a lot of launches that you've seen when we're trying to launch, for example, astronauts to the space station. You have what's called an instantaneous launch window, which means if you don't hit it right at the time, you don't go. This is different. They don't have a precise intercept that they have to make. They just have to get to low Earth orbit. And so they're, be prepared, and our plan would be to stay, as long as they're still counting and they haven't scrubbed the mission, we're going to stay there. So I don't expect that, but it is, after all, rocket science. And just be prepared for that. If you have a giant issue with that, come and see us, and we'll see if we can work something out. We don't want to flood the area with a bunch of private cars. We've not configured for that. We don't think the good people of Lompoc want 100 cars rolling around at 2 a.m. They probably don't care. But my point is that we're trying to give you a fully catered service, but also we want to be flexible. So if there's somebody that says, I know in advance that if it doesn't go by 12:45, if it doesn't go within an hour, I've got to leave. We'll talk to you about is the best thing I can say. But do have it in your mind that it will be up to a 3 to 4 hour window where we'll be hanging. Now, Colby didn't mention, but we will have hot drinks and some other survivables when we're out there. And you're free to, if you want to load up with 900 chocolate bars, we're fine. Do that. But I did want to mention the window, so no one is surprised. Don't want anybody to get out there and not know that that's the reality of how they get stuff to orbit.
Right. Hey, Charlie. So the getting back to the Aurora launch, this is not a nighttime launch.
No, it's usually at dawn. The reason they do it early is the winds are really low in that part.
Right.
Go then, and you don't want high winds for a variety of reasons. So
well, in the past,
right around dawn-ish, we often see dawn, depending upon the time of year when we fly. You may be privileged to have a view that Robert Goddard had many years ago, which is sunrise over the Oregon mountains in New Mexico and fire a rocket away.
What do you suspect the the temperatures will be like before dawn at bus loading time?
Again, that's probably, I live in Santa Fe, which is northern New Mexico. Las Cruces is southern New Mexico, so it's hotter. I haven't looked, but my guess is you should dress about the way you're going to dress for Excelsior, which is have some layers. Expect that it could be down into the 40s, but then when the sun comes up, it gets really hot quick.
Right.
Or warm. This time of the year, it's beautiful. It's not hot at all.
Yeah. Well, for any Floridians that's coming out there, anything under 70 degrees is freezing temperatures for us. Just saying. So if you're coming from cross country and you're not used to 40 degrees for an extended amount of time, you definitely want to dress as if it was winter. For Floridians. I can't even say my own state's name.
On the other hand, if you're coming from Minnesota, they're going to be wearing flip-flops and Bermuda shorts.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, what other a gentleman had asked about the most formal event that's going to be happening out there and how shall they dress?
We don't set dress codes because we never have. Generally speaking, because you're going to be outdoors, you're going to be at a reception, I would wear comfortable clothes and not worry about the formality of it. Again, no tank tops and flip-flops, but no one's going to do that. Just, dress comfortably because it is an outdoor venue and we want you to be comfortable.
Okay, and I'll throw another one in, I guess, from myself. Since we are on a military facility, are there any security issues we need to concern ourselves with or anything of that point?
No, we're not on a military facility. The base is secure. We're in the city of Lompoc, and there's no security check out at the airport.
Understood. Okay.
It's a Muni airport, so.
The Muni Airport. Okay. Cool. Once again, folks, if you have any questions, you may want to go ahead and get them in. If there's anything that you missed, you can re-watch this broadcast, I guess a few minutes after we end on either our Facebook page or the YouTube page. So if it's something you missed and you think it was already mentioned, just watch this. You can fast forward. You have the capabilities of controlling your video as you watch it. So you can fast forward ahead. You don't have to watch the entire video to get an answer to your question. So if there's anyone that has any questions about either flight, Excelsior or Aurora, you may want to go ahead and get it in now. And if you think you got everything covered, I'm happy for you. How about you guys, Colby? You're out there in the West. I'm not out there with you guys, which is sad, but that's okay. But in terms of, you say the area is beautiful. How far away do you think the flight will be seen once it's at its greatest altitude, I guess?
People see it in La Jolla.
How far away is that in La Jolla?
Oh, La Jolla is San Diego. So
that's Southern California. Good grief.
They'll see it in LA. They'll see it in Santa Barbara. I don't know how far north they will, but again, it's a night launch, so it will light it up. And if it's clear, it should be beautiful. We should be able to see the stage set and the second stage light. It just those are the kinds of things we don't control, but at least people will hear the rumble and know that mom and dad or mom and sis or whoever, their Gemini capsule is on the way to orbit along with more than 120 other folks. So
wow. Yeah. And will there be a viewing of the return, the booster rocket return?
I don't know. I haven't seen whether they're bringing it back to land. Most of the time they landed out on the barges. We're trying to find that out, and we'll know before the flight whether it will be landing back on land or not.
And I had seen
the most recent launch, the one that when it moved, we moved by a couple of days, landed back at Vandenberg.
Okay.
And for that reason, I think probably not, but I don't know. And so all I'm doing is speculating.
And someone had earlier asked about the tracking. How is this being tracked? Where is it being tracked? When can it be tracked? And so on.
So what happens, particularly on these transporter launches where Falcon launches up to 120 satellites at a time, the tracking is a bit of an adventure because they have the folks that do it at NORAD have to wait long enough for the individual spacecrafts to float away so that they can identify them.
Sure.
In this case, we're not an individual spacecraft. We're on the carrier. We're on the big bus. And so I would say somewhere between a month and 3 months, they will have figured out, they being the U.S. government agency that does this, they will have tracked everything, and we will certainly know where ours is. Once we know where ours is, it's then just automatically tracked on our website through our software there. You just go to celestis.com and it'll say Excelsior flight. You'll click on it and you'll have it tracked. The other option people have is we have a partnership with the gentleman that produces ISS Above, which is a Raspberry Pi. I'm told it's a device that lights up and bells and whistles and all kinds of things when the ISS is overhead. Liam has adapted that system for we now have Celestis Above, which is available on our website, where you can track the Excelsior. Once we know all the orbital parameters and everything, he'll input those into the device, and you can put your device someplace where you want to see it. And whenever the spacecraft is coming overhead, again, it will start lighting up, and you'll know that, Dad is overhead.
That's the coolest thing. You could be cooking in your kitchen, right, sitting in your living room, and all of a sudden your little device starts to go crazy. That's because your loved one is directly overhead you as you speak. So right, that is the coolest thing. Absolutely. And of course, you can go to our website, our page here, and you can get all the information on that tracker, pricing, the whole 9 yards.
And we'll keep people informed as we regularly, gently harass the nice lady at the Air Force that does the tracking so that we'll know as soon as it's available, and we'll put it up. But it varies. Again, we learned this on the last launch, the last transporter launch we were on. It's the first
Right.
time there's been so many satellites on our vehicle that they had to wait for them to drift apart before they could identify them. And so we waited probably about 3 months to get that for the Ascension flight. So those of you who go to our website, click on tracking, go to Ascension, that took us a while to get, and that was one of the transporter flights. This mission that Excelsior is on is a transporter flight, but these Celestis capsules are not on a satellite, not on a deployed satellite. They're on the main bus, which stays in orbit. So that again, I'm speculating a bit, but that might prove a little easier to get a beat on.
Right. As you can see on your screen here, someone had asked how many have we? Well, let's just say, including these 2 missions, how many would we have sent up since Celestis has been in operation?
This will be our 19th mission.
Yeah, we've completed 18.
Yeah, we've completed 18. Well, we haven't, no, because we didn't complete Aurora. So actually, we've completed 17. We have 18 is Aurora, 19 is Excelsior, 20 is Tranquility, 21 is Enterprise, 22 is
Destiny or Harmony?
Harmony. 23 is Perseverance. Well, I can go on. We have quite a few missions scheduled. In fact, we're starting to have as many spacecraft up there as all but a very few nations.
Right. For Laura's question, Laura, you can go on our website for free, of course, and track. Unless you buy the individual tracking device, of course, that's a purchase. But you can still track any one of our flights just by going on the website.
So Excelsior will be, when we post it, will be freely available on our site.
Right. Yeah. I implore people, if you're sending up a loved one, go get that tracking device that you could personally have in your possession, and you could take it anywhere. You don't have to plug it into anything. I think it's battery operated, right, Charles?
I think so.
Yeah. So even if you took it to,
I see them sitting in our office.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Glowing red. So I don't think it's plugged in. I'm sure it's battery. Yeah.
Okay. I know we're here to talk about Excelsior and Aurora, but someone is inquiring on Enterprise in terms of time of launch. Is that still in play? Nothing's changed? Anything you can add?
Yeah. Right now, the schedule, there's a 4-day window for Enterprise and Tranquility. Remember, both of those missions are on the same Vulcan rocket. And that window is May 4th through May 8th. Caveat, about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, Tori Bruno of ULA announced that the Centaur, which is the second stage, had suffered a significant structural anomaly during testing. And so we can say that we're still holding to a May 4th through 8th window, but the ULA investigation as to what happened and whether that will affect the May 4th launch, nothing has been announced about it. So it's like, launches are really hard to do.
Yeah, sure.
And everything has to go right at the right time for them to lift off. And so that's the best story I can give you today. There has been no official change in the launch date, but there was an announcement of a component. The Centaur's a critical component of the mission that we're on. So if it's in doubt, they're not going to fly it until they've resolved the doubt.
And is it safe for me to say, Charles, that this is probably not just for us, but for the entire space community, this is one of the most ambitious flights that are happening due to the fact that a lander is going down on the moon during our flight?
Yeah, it's significant for a lot of reasons, Mark. It's the very first flight of Vulcan, which is the replacement rocket for Delta and Atlas. It's the whole future of ULA is built around the Vulcan rocket. And so it's a big deal for for Celestis, for Astrobotic, for ULA, for NASA, for the United States Space Force.
Yeah.
All of the above. It's a very significant mission. And I expect, by the way, people know that they're able to go ahead and get attendance packages to come down to Florida for that launch at our events.celestis.com. And we're going to have a lot of people there, and others are going to have a lot of people there. So, regardless of when it flies, it will be a major mid-Florida event.
Okay, and there is no, sorry if I missed it, there is no time set for the Enterprise launch, correct?
I've not been approved to release it yet.
Understood. Yeah, that's understood. Patricia's question here is, what beach are we watching? Are you planning on laying out a little early, Patricia, before lunchtime, or what's up?
Well, there's no beach here in Lompoc, so I assume she's talking about either Tranquility or Enterprise.
Yeah, I don't know what launch she's talking about either, but I forgot totally that you're on the coast out in California, so yeah, beaches there too. So
we'll announce where we'll be after for Enterprise after we get through these two missions.
Sure.
But the world will be watching it from Cocoa Beach or even up north in what is it, Titusville up there?
Yeah, Titusville.
So that's the thing about Florida. There's great viewing
everywhere. Yeah. I can see it from my front door. I'm 45 minutes from the Cape, and I see every launch just by walking outside.
So our events will be in Cape Canaveral,
Great.
About maybe a half mile from the beach there in Cape Canaveral. In order for us to get a nice facility for viewing with covered areas and restrooms and all that kind of stuff, we'll be going not right there we're not going to send everybody go out on the beach and have a good time watching it. But if you want to do that, you can. Yeah.
This interesting question. I think we've answered it in one of our other broadcasts. And speaking of other broadcasts, between now and Enterprise, will there be another? Because there's a few unanswered questions, right?
Oh, heck yes.
Heck yes, yeah. But June is asking. Go ahead.
Maybe two.
June is asking, and even your answer is going to be interesting on this one, and that is just simply tracking for Enterprise? Question mark.
Yeah, good question. Somebody will be doing it, and we're talking to a couple of those somebodies. We will know the orbit, the heliocentric orbit that Enterprise achieves. So we'll be able to say, and we'll know when it started. So from that, you can, if not track, you can calculate where it will be. And I think we'll end up more with that. We'd probably have to lease the Deep Space Network ourselves to real-time track the thing. But we don't have the answer to that yet. But we will know final heliocentric orbit parameters, and as I say, where it started, the orbit.
Okay, let me add to that then another question for you. Of course, the heliocentric orbit you're saying is a possibility of tracking that is there, but what happens once our other flight, the Enterprise session of it itself, heads on out to deep space? How long will we be able to track that?
That's the heliocentric orbit.
Thank you. I've been educated. That's great. Hey, look, helio, man. Come on, I'm an architect. I think helio. You mean sphere?
Sun.
You mean around the moon?
Sun.
Okay. All right.
As we've said, once Enterprise flight achieves that orbit, we're going to rename it Enterprise Station, and we'll be the deepest human object in the solar system. There have been a couple that have left the solar system, but we'll be the deepest space, roughly 300 million kilometers.
Okay.
Which is a long way.
So it's geek out time for me. I'm going to take advantage of this right now. Okay. Guys, the mission is the Enterprise flight. Okay. The rocket is Vulcan. Once we get out into where we're going, it just changes to Enterprise Station. On board is the creator of Star Trek, Gene Roddenberry, his wife, Jimmy Doohan, Michelle Nichols. How appropriate, how ultra cool this is going to be. And I am expecting a media circus.
And DeForest Kelly's.
And DeForest Kelly. We have DNA from DeForest Kelly on that.
And we have a couple of the producers, writers of Star Trek also.
Yes, that are going to be on board. And it's just going to be unbelievable, not taking away from Excelsior or Aurora at all. But this is why a lot of information Charles cannot give us as of yet, because it's just so important, so hush hush, and we're just going to be impatient. We're just going to have to be patient if you haven't heard exact launch details on the Enterprise and Tranquility flight. So bear with us. Just keep coming to our broadcast, and we'll have update. I'm sure Charles gets information every day, but he's only allowed to tell us, number one, what's pertinent, and number one, what he can. So we're just going to have to be kind of patient on that one.
It's our boldest mission ever when you think about it. We have two distinct flights on the same vehicle. We're going to the moon, which is in and of itself, think about it, we're putting almost 70 souls on the surface of the moon. You can walk out at night and look up in that northwest quadrant and say, that's where my sister is, and that's about as permanent as it gets. So that's
a goosebump moment right now.
And on that mission, I'm really personally delighted that we have Sir Arthur C. Clarke, and we have Marita West, who now NASA, these days NASA has got a lot of really competent women in positions of authority. When Marita West was at NASA in the 60s, think about that. A woman astrogeologist who trained astronauts what they should be looking for on the lunar surface in the 60s, having that position. So she was truly a trailblazer.
Ahead of her time, yeah.
Yeah, and so she's finally going to make it to the moon as well. We've been looking forward to that one for a long time. And then, of course, the Enterprise flight is the piece de resistance. It's the first time we've ever done a Voyager mission. We've been almost there a couple times, but hey, there aren't a whole hell of a lot of commercial deep space missions out there to be had, as anybody that's looked realizes. But we're so happy to be teamed with ULA, and so happy. ULA loves us. They are such great hosts for us that we're tamping down the enthusiasm, because Colby and I have two missions in front of that.
Yeah, right.
But it's Zoom-S, and we're ready. We're good. I know we'll have somewhere between 500 and 1,200 guests down in Florida, and that'll be a big.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah,
really looking forward to that one. But you're on a mission right now. What's that?
Excelsior is cool. I love the fact that we're flying from Vandenberg. We're going into a polar orbit, a sun synchronous polar orbit, which means we basically cross the equator at the same time every 3 or 4 days. So it sees the entire surface of the Earth every 3 or 4 days. And so it's a cool mission going to a cool spot. And we have wonderful people on board. There are 15 veterans on Excelsior.
Awesome.
We have one of the early commercial space entrepreneurs on board, Chuck Lauer. We have just normal people on board. We have folks from multiple countries on board. It's a classic Celestis mission. And, we're launching 120 souls into Earth orbit. That doesn't happen every day.
It's amazing what we do. It really is. Flo, we'll go ahead and tell. Yes, it's still on the 10th, but you can also rewatch this program at any time at your convenience on our Facebook page and on our YouTube page to kind of catch up on anything that may have already been covered. That'll handle everything for you. Okay. Let's see, and that is the time for Excelsior flight, and we're all good. If there are any other questions that we can handle right now, if we sign off, remember our crew, even though our crew is on duty right now out there, it's not that we're not paying attention to our web pages. So if you don't get an immediate answer, it's because their hands are full, but we still look at our website page and our email accounts. Okay.
We've got a great customer service group, and they're doing a bang up job. We're getting a lot of questions, getting a lot of, hey, can I change my bio? All kinds of stuff.
Oh boy.
We're wading through all that stuff, and
yeah.
we do it with a smile because we know how important it is to the folks who are flying. Colby, what time does registration start tomorrow?
It starts at 4 p.m. Pacific time.
Here at the Embassy Suites.
Here at Embassy Suites in the Jamala room.
Oh my God, you're at Embassy. They have the best breakfast.
They do, actually.
Why am I sitting here? Why am I not?
Hey, Mark, speaking of food, real quick for our Excelsior folks, the way Monday plays out, we're boarding the bus at 11:45. I would recommend all of our Excelsior guests to eat before 11:45, just because they're going to be on that bus. We're going to get to the memorial service. It's going to go. You won't have a chance to eat again until we get to the reception, which will be around 4 o'clock. So I know some people may be sensitive to that. So I recommend that you eat before you get on the bus at 11:45. When you get back to the hotel between the memorial service and before you go, make sure that you get something to eat too. So just be aware that I think we had a little blurb that said you're going to be away from your hotel room for quite a while, both at the memorial service and at the launch viewing. So just be prepared for that.
And I just want to say the memorial service, we have yummy food and Babcock wines, which are world famous.
Excellent.
Yeah. I have a bottle of wine. I'm ready to crack after this show's over. So I'll be drinking, thinking about you guys. Let me ask you. You did say something previously about bringing snacks or things of that nature on the bus, right?
Yeah, on the bus, in your pockets, wherever you'd like to. We don't regulate your food intake.
Right. So just in case anyone.
We try to always keep you hydrated. And again, the reception is going to be yummy.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay. Anyone have any final thoughts? Our executive staff here, or anything? You got about 30 seconds. You might want to go ahead and ask now. I think we basically covered everything. This is the last program before Excelsior launches on Monday. And then once the team is back at their various locations, then we start, well, they haven't stopped, but continue for the next launch, which is Aurora in New Mexico. Nice to hear it, Glenda. They're going to be anxious to meet you too. So
Absolutely. Well, it's always doing more missions means we get to meet more of our people, which is A, who we do it for, B, the reason that we're here, and most importantly, I think we know that when you complete the launch, if you're out here or if you're at home viewing it, we've done what we told you we were going to do, and you're part of a very small elite group of people that have been able to celebrate your loved one's love of space or your loved one's love of the cosmos in a way that I just know how much closure and fulfillment. And, I will say that it's always a rocky road to get there because launches are launches. And you can't it's not like we scheduled the memorial service at the church on Sunday at 11:30, and everybody knows that, right? And everybody.
yeah,
we try to maintain a flexibility and ask our clients to maintain a flexibility. And that's what permits us to provide this service to you. And without that, without your support, I'd still be out probably launching rockets in some way. But this is the most meaningful. I've been in the space program since 1981, the commercial space program. This is the most meaningful thing I think we can do. And I'm just privileged and pleased to have a team like we have. Colby is representative of everyone else at Celestis. Marc is the same. Marc was the first Celestis ambassador. We love doing this, and we love most seeing the look on the face of the people once we've done it.
agreed. That is the best. That emotion is best.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess that's a perfect ending for this broadcast. Folks, we're still in the game. You can contact us, please. Any question, there's no such thing as a dumb question or a small question. Please don't hesitate. As soon as it hits your brain, send us an email, contact us immediately. We want to make sure that everything is flawless for you heading out to the launch and viewing the launch, getting information back to the families who cannot attend either any one of our flights on how they can actually watch whatever we are broadcasting. So if you have questions to that, just please make sure you hit up our team and they will follow through. Trust me, they will follow through. So we'll take care of you. We'll take care of your loved ones. And we appreciate you guys being here. Boss 1, Boss 2, enjoy out there. I'll be watching. And of course, it's SpaceX is what we're viewing on. So I'm looking forward to that. And other than that, I really, really appreciate you guys always being here and keeping us up to date and making sure we're all confident that everything is going right with us. And it always has. So other than that, I guess we can sign off.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. See
Bye,
you
everyone.
guys later on, any flight you're at. Take care. Bye-bye, guys.
This is the launch conductor in Mission Control. We pause at this moment in our countdown to remember and honor the lives of each of the participants on the Celestis Memorial spaceflight. Their presence on this flight signifies a commitment to the opening of the space frontier shared by all of us. We wish the friends and families present today and all those who are with us in spirit all over the world Godspeed, good luck, and our thanks for allowing us to share this very personal time with you today. Elsie out. 5 vehicles armed. 3, 2, 1, fire.